Good morning, everybody. My name is Mensur Pudic, and I am the founder of Simply Motivated. This morning, I got a powerful individual with me, Mr. Reverend Kasey Corbin. Kasey, welcome.
Mensur, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. As Les would say, it's a treat when great people meet.
Les is a remarkable human, and so are you. And I as we talked a little bit prior to this, I used to wake up in the morning, and I used to listen to what you were talking about. What's in your cup, and it's very important the first half an hour, and you know how the mind works. You're well equipped. It's very important to understand how our mind works and why it's so important that we have the good vibration, we have the good energy, and early in the morning. And I want you to touch a little bit base on that.
On the I do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Facebook. It's in between the 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. hour that I come on, and it's called Wake Up to the God in You, a cup of morning motivation with Reverend Kasey. And I always say, did you know the best part to waking up is what's in your cup? And the cup is representative of and metaphoric of your routines, your regimens, your disciplines. Yeah. So it's very, 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 it's vitally important that we take control of our minds, of our mindset, of our state of mind. The first 20 to 30 minutes of your morning, you should slip into a routine. You should wake up and get started in your habit life, your programming, your conditioning. It's very important that you take control of your mind. If you take control of your mind in the first 20 to 30 minutes of your day, you can take control of the day. And if you can take control of the day, you can take control of your week, your month, and your year. If you're consistent with it, keep going and not give up, because we want to be the thinkers. This is why it's so important for me, because I want to be the thinker. I don't want outside conditions and circumstances suggesting to me what to think. I want to be the thinker and influence my conditions and circumstances. So that's why it's so important for me, because it's my habit life.
You touched on an important thing. If we don't think, our habits will do things that they have been doing for us. And I try to explain that to people. It's like your habits and your conditioning. If you want a different result, you have to change the way you think. And, 9 out of 10 people will say, I know that. But you look at their habits and they're doing the same exact thing. They're looking at the same stuff. They're studying the same stuff. They're doing everything that they've done before. It's like you want to break your habits. It's like change things around. If you've done something in the morning, do it at night.
So true.
Break that conditioning, and you can see how it's going to help you think. And, one of the things that I like to do, especially in the morning, is work out, right? It relieves the endorphins, and everything that happened yesterday, I leave it yesterday, unless it's good and it has the good energy that it's taken me to closer towards my goal, towards my dream. I'm networking with somebody, then I bring it aboard. If it's not, I leave it where it's at, and I continue and hit the ground running with what I have.
Absolutely.
You worked with a vast amount of people, right, in different areas, in your expertise. What would you think is one of the biggest hurdles that we as people have?
Not knowing what you want. I would say that I think that's the biggest hurdle that people have. Not know. A lot of people, most people, Mensur, know what they don't want, but they are not able to articulate what they do want. And I know this from experience, man. I spent the majority of my life not knowing what I wanted. There's a quote from a great American baseball player named Yogi Berra. And Yogi Berra said, if you don't know where you're going to end up someplace else. And when you don't know what you want, you find yourself in places that you don't want to be in. You're someone that you don't want to be. You're doing things that you don't want to do, and you have things that you don't want to have, all because you don't know what you really want. And so I call that the secret of the ages. Knowing what you really want. I think that's the great secret. That's the great secret, man.
And it does shift our mindset, finding what it is that you want, and a lot of people, they don't know what they want, and that's okay, because that's a starting point for them. I always say, don't get discouraged, because if you're feeling a certain way, your body and your mind is telling you something, right? We're chemical beings. We're built on emotion and feelings. We're being told, just if we look at ourselves, what is it that we want? What do we maybe want to change? What do we want to go after? And, a lot of people, they say, this is going to cost money. Everything's going to cost you time, energy, and money. You can choose not to do anything with it, or you can choose to invest and do something with it, right?
Right.
The results will show at the end of the day. The results, they never lie. They always show whatever your truth is, or you think it is, it's going to be there. You have bad habits, you have a bad result. You have good habits, you have a good result. And it's very important that you say a lot of people don't know what they want. And I think a part of that is a lot of people don't believe in themselves that they could actually do it. Would you agree with that?
I absolutely agree. Self-confidence is vital to being, doing, and having whatever you want. You have to have that belief, that self-belief that I can do this. Or I can be this, I can do this, I can have this, that confidence that I can. And that becomes an issue when a person doesn't know who they are or what they are. There's no self-identity. When that person is struggling with thoughts of identification or suffering from a lack of self-discovery, they haven't quite found out. I don't know if you've ever heard this. I'm sure you probably have. The two most important days are the day that you were born and the day you discovered why you were born. And when that is lacking, and a person is definitely going to struggle with self-confidence, the ability to believe in themselves. Yeah, but it can be overcome, but only with awareness.
And that is key. We got to be aware, and as I was growing up, I started looking back at kids, and kids are doing things that their parents want. Every parent wants the best for their kid. We know that. If the kid is not emotionally involved, if they're not going and chasing the goals that they want, especially in my culture, my background, we were always pushed to school because our parents didn't have that opportunity. It's great to have education, from school, from life itself, but education and experience aren't the same. Teachers are teaching you what they know, what they're building on. But when you have that awareness that you can learn from them, you can learn from different credible sources. You can touch base with experts. You tend to open your awareness in your mind to more possibilities, more opportunities, more growth, more development, more engagement. There's so much more that you can do with that one thought, that one idea, and when I talk to kids, they focus on, I'm stuck, or I'm doing this because of somebody else. And I'd always go, but what is it that you're doing for yourself? Because what you're doing for yourself, that's in your core. If you're not doing that, you're going to get discouraged. You're not going to want to go chase somebody else's passion, and that's one of the things, I don't want to, cause a ruckus here. People in sales, sometimes salespeople try to push salespeople, and those people aren't salespeople.
Yeah.
That's not their passion. It's like maybe they're in customer service. That might be where they grow and make the company flourish.
Right.
Right. And it's like, if you're in management, your job is to figure out where are the best strengths of your employees, put them in there and let them flourish. They're going to grow. They're not going to get discouraged. They're going to get discouraged if you put them somewhere, where they have doubt, where they don't have support. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have the expertise, because they're going to think all about that at once. And it's just, I always use the term, they're going to create quicksand for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say is when you're looking at, starting off your morning, starting off your routine, what are some things, we have some viewers on here, what are some things that they could do to help out their day, help out how they look at it. I don't know. I'm assuming you're big in affirmations. There's a reason of that and why they play on us. So talk a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. I believe firmly that our rituals define us. So we must define our rituals. Our rituals determine also our destiny. It's going to determine our day, how we live out our day. So some of the things I do when I first get up, and I love to say, there's nothing like waking up to spiritual worship and making your body aerobic. So I wake up to gratitude. I wake up to being grateful, and I find all the things that I can be grateful for. Wake up to prayer. I wake up to affirmations. I love affirming. I love affirming my good. I love aligning with good, universal good. And so I affirm those things for myself. And also, Mansoor, visualization. These are some of the things that are part of my rituals, my routine, my daily discipline, my daily conditioning. And I also wake up to, I highly encourage all the viewers to spend at least 20 to 30 minutes reading something motivating, inspiring, or transformational. I wake up to that every morning, every single morning, loving on myself, caring about and for myself, and providing myself with the things that I need to be whatever I want to be, do whatever I want to do, and have whatever I want to have. But self-talk, that inner conversation and visualization, those have been key for me in moving my life from negative to positive.
I love that you give those examples, and I'm aware of why you do it, right? You want to keep yourself in a high vibration. You want to stay focused on your goal. You want to create that discipline, and you want to make sure that you control your emotions, your feelings in the day instead of having the outside environment control us, and we hear the word no, or it can't be done. You shouldn't do this millions of times over before we hear somebody say, hey, good job, or you can do this, or you can achieve this, because we're used to and we're programmed to be negative.
Right.
And it's shocking to us. You watch the media, you might have friends, and it's that support group that's very important that can either make us or break us. A lot of people say, hey, I have a lot of friends. Don't worry about friends. People start dropping off. You need people who support you, who have that common goal, who have that common dream. Those people aren't dropping off because they're passionate about, might be passionate about the same thing you are. And they're the type of people that you want to network with.
Yes. Yes, that's key. That's key. Find your tribe, man. Find your family. Find the people that pull you and push you. You want both those kinds of people in your life. That's so important. That is so important. That energy. You have your own energy signature, your own signature energy, and your own individual energy field. And then, like energy attracts like energy when it comes to the law of attraction. And when you have others around you that are high vibrational, that are positive and prosperous in their thinking, prosperity thinking, prosperous thinking, thinking in terms of motivation and inspiration, and being relentless and determined, those are the kind of people that you want to have, man, and who just won't give up. They'll find a way. I'm so reminded about the 4 people. There's a story in the Gospels about 4 people that were carrying a paralytic on a cot, and they were taking the paralytic to the master teacher for healing. And when they got to the place that the teacher was teaching in, it was packed. They couldn't even get in the door. But their faith led them up to the roof. And they dug a hole in the roof, and let the paralyzed one down on the cot. And it says, and when the master teacher saw their faith, that paralyzed person needed those kind of people with persistence, perseverance, determination, who would not give up, who would make a way. You know, it was George Bernard Shaw said, the people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. They created a way out of no way. Infinite possibilities. I love it, man.
And that's so powerful, you know, and it's just thinking about your story about the tribe. You know, these days something happens, everybody's quick to grab their phone so they can record.
Yeah.
You know, car accidents happen, everybody's on their phone. They want to record, they want to put it on their social media, they want to go live. It's like, hey, there's 50 people standing there. There's probably maybe one or two that will actually dial 911 and say, we need to get this person some medical attention. Right? And it's like, where has awareness gone that people are so consumed by technologies? And, you know, throughout the day, there are times where I don't look at my phone. It's not phone. You know, I have it structured in my day. These are the times where I'm going to look at it. I'm going to be on social media. And these are the times where I'm not. When I'm with my girlfriend, when I'm with family time, it's family time. That's what I'm doing, you know, and I'm getting better at it. I used to be horrible at it, you know, but it's those habits and being consciously aware of, you know, I don't want to continue being on my phone when I'm around them because, you know, that's the more important thing that I could be doing. Right. Can't buy any more time to spend with them. So the time that I get, I better use it wisely. And, you know, you mentioned creating discipline, and discipline is very, very important for tons of reasons.
Yeah.
But you also have to have that, as we talked about, is that support group. You know, like-minded people. And, you know, when I look at my history of, you know, going to colleges, it was so much easier because everybody was in the same class. Everybody's going towards that same degree, same objective without even thinking about it. You know, it's so much easier. Right? We have people we can bounce ideas with. We have support groups.
Right.
We can ask questions with. And that's really what people need before they get unstuck and get moving. Most people don't get what they want because they simply don't ask. And it's different when we don't have a support group. Right? When we're by ourselves, what we start thinking of all the negatives, how it can't be done, all the bad habits, you know, and we create a mess for ourselves. You know, we're all tangled up, and it's like, sometimes it's like, hey, go out in nature, go out for a walk. We love comparing ourselves to other people, and it has nothing to do with us. It's like, go to nature. You have nothing to compare yourself. And it's so much bigger, that energy that you talked about, and we all have that energy field. And I teach that in my class in the course that I'm going to be rolling out. But we have that energy when you go out in nature. You know, you hear the water, you hear the birds, you can feel the air. It's like there's so much more to us that you don't have any other people. That's why people are relaxed. You know?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think people should find things in their schedule that they like to do. Because if you like to do it, there's a good chance that relaxation and everything comes in, that you're not carrying on or holding on to that stress.
Yeah, so true. So true.
What's one of the things that you learned about yourself? I know you went through a big growth experience, and you know, you learned a lot about the mind. What did you learn about yourself? How beneficial is this? And what are you doing, or how are you using these new skills and new development towards your goal or things you want to accomplish?
What did I learn about myself? I learned that I'm a spirit being. I'm a spiritual being. I live in a visible physical world, in a visible physical body, from the inside out, through my divine mind power. I want to say that one more time. I'm a spiritual being. I live in a visible physical world, in a visible physical body, from the inside out, through my divine mind power. That's what I learned about myself, Mincer, that I have physical experiences every day. And I say in my morning broadcast of Wake Up to the God in You, that on an individual level, I am God of my own experiences. And what I mean by this is that I learned that I create my own realities. No one else is doing this. I'm creating my own realities from the inside out through my mind power. Now, what am I doing with this? There is a 21-day challenge that I offer called Faith Hack, where we're hacking faith, where I've hacked faith, and it's called Everyday Faith for Everyday People. What is faith? Faith is thinking, cut short, to the point. Faith is thinking. And so I'm offering this to people. Why is this so powerful? Because thoughts are things, and thoughts become things. Thoughts become the things that we think about. Again, we create our own reality. And also, I'm offering something called the Science of Living philosophy from my teacher, Reverend Ike. And that is all about learning about yourself, gaining the correct and proper self-awareness, the correct and proper self-knowledge, and how to develop a positive self-image psychology for oneself, and a proper vision for your life. Without a vision, it says in the Proverbs, people perish. Without a vision of success, people perish in failure. Without a vision of health, people perish in sickness and disease. And so I offer those courses along with the divine design, how to live a dynamic life from the inside out. And those are some of the things that I do. And it's helped me to take possession of I point here, but the 3-pound gray piece of matter called the brain is in there, where the mind is like the energy field that's around my body. And it extends from the follicle of hair on my head to the skin underneath my feet. And so 2 things, Mentor, is what this mind science has helped me do is to take possession of my mind and direct its power to a predetermined end. And man, my entire life has changed. Yeah.
Key words is you start from yourself, and I love that you say that. We will always find an external circumstance why something doesn't work.
Yes.
And you figured out how it goes. And, we think on pictures.
We
tell people, when you say mind, everybody thinks of the brain.
Right.
Brain.
Right.
But that's how we're programmed. We're programmed on pictures. And it's, I watched some speakers before, and they were talking about descriptive words, language, and how important it is of what we say about ourselves, what we think about ourselves.
Yes.
And, it creates pictures in our mind before we even realize it.
It does.
You say car, we already know what the car looks like. Our mind pulls it up in milliseconds, but there's a picture somewhere in our mind that we know exactly how to put it together. And, I took one of my kids to the exercise of how the mind works. And I told him, have you ever had a flat tire? And he's like, I did when I was in high school. And I'm like, I want you to think about how that happened. And then he started digging in his mind. He started going in, and I'm like, why do you remember this? And he's like, I'm not sure. I'm like, was it the only time that it happened to you? He's like, yes. I'm like, well, that's why you remembered it. You see, you mapped it in your subconscious mind. It remembered it because it's a strong memory. It had an emotional effect on you, especially if you were in high school. How am I going to tell my parents? What am I going to tell them? Was I supposed to be going here? Especially if you're going somewhere where you're not supposed to. All those emotions dictate the decisions we're going to make. And it had an impact, and that's one of the things where it was a light bulb moment. He started saying, wow, I wasn't aware of that. And it's like, take your own self through your experiences. And, we all go through experiences we don't like.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to go back to that experience in our mind and look at it from a different perspective. Because if you don't, it's gonna keep you stuck. It's going to keep you thinking the way you have been. It's going to keep you giving you the result that you have. And, when you learn how to grow from the inside out, everything else comes easy. And that's very important, especially when you talked about having a vision, having that vision board.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't give up when it's in front of you.
Yeah. So true. So true, man.
You know, I had a big vision about a year ago. From where I come from, motivational speakers are not heard of. The culture, the background, there are people out there that it's mostly based on negativity.
Hmm.
If you're younger, what do you know? That mindset is, you have people that are stuck in their generation and their roots, that they don't have the awareness to build out, but that's starting to change. While the older generation doesn't believe in motivational speakers, doesn't understand or have understanding about some things, I realized the younger generation, they have the awareness that we didn't.
True.
Because they grew up in a different environment. And I always tell people, look at your environment. And Les Brown talks about it, Tony Robbins, they say, look at your 5 friends. You're in about 10, 20,000 of where they're making.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that has such a huge impact on us, and I've always been into self-development because I was seeking that from within. Always wanted it to help people, but can't help them unless I help me.
Yeah.
And that's something that got me involved in this journey and things that I wanted it to do, impact millions of people around the world. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And, I'm grateful for people like you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, brother.
We all have those days that we trip up, but when I see you doing your thing, following your passion, and you're doing those affirmations in the morning, there's different ideas that come to my mind, and I'm like, hey, I can keep going.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. This has been this is key, man. It is key to me where I come from. And I'll start by saying this. What I do every day is so key to me in my life because of my conditioning and my upbringing, because of how I was programmed in the family that I was born into. And so coming up in life, it was really hard for me from a psychological standpoint, because I did not know what was going on with me. I didn't know anything about a psychology, I just did know how to spell the mind, but my conditioning, the limiting beliefs that I grew up with, we can't go any further than the ideas in our minds. We can't progress further than the ideas, and we can't advance further than the ideas in our mind. And so, I was sabotaging myself with the limiting beliefs. I wanted to be more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to have more, but I didn't know that every time I wanted to be more, I kept hitting a ceiling, and I didn't know what the ceiling was. I wanted to do more. I wanted to have more. And it brought a degree of frustration over me. What's going on? And I couldn't break out of this. I didn't know it was a pattern, didn't know it was a blueprint, didn't know it was a design within me, didn't know that there were mental images and pictures involved in this. And so I was like, in order to advance, and here's long story short, I discovered that in order to advance my life, I had to advance the ideas in my mind.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah. So I had to start playing bigger, thinking greater, going in, finding those core beliefs that were limiting the use of my infinite potential, removing them and replacing them with empowering beliefs. That's where my journey began. Yeah.
The journey of self-development.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's what I teach today, man. I teach people how to do that.
And it's very important that you say that, we're programmed by the time we're 7 years old, right?
Absolutely.
Most of our beliefs are coming from our culture, the people we're around, our parents, siblings, whoever it might be, in our small little life. Right now there's kids going to daycare. They're going to come home and parents are going to be like, hey, where'd they pick this stuff up? We didn't teach them this.
Yeah.
And kids don't have fear. Kids don't know what fear is.
Right.
They can see fire, and unless they've been burnt or anything, they don't know that that's dangerous for them.
True.
We know that we can see fire. We can know, hey, I might not get close. There might be something in there that can throw out the flame, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, kids don't have that. You throw a ball to them when they're 5 years old, they're not going to look both ways to see if there's cars. They're going to be so focused after that ball that, yes, there are sometimes they might look, but if they get in that zone and they get so focused, there's a good chance that they're not going to stop.
Absolutely.
But that's, as we grow up, those mental habits of, you know, when you're told you can't do that, don't touch that, you know, and there are some things kids should definitely avoid, but there are also things that kids should explore.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mm-hmm.
be willing to explore different situations. Be willing to look at things from different angles. Be
Right.
willing to believe in something even when you can't see it.
Right.
Somebody else could have had that belief at one point or another and probably did and built what they wanted, you know. And I gave an example yesterday. There was one point in time we didn't have internet.
True.
Weren't able to go to the moon. Don't have these technologies. They say the world's a big place. It just got smaller with all the technologies that we have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having that awareness changes our perception, and it can change if we run towards our goals and dreams. And it takes the same amount of energy, as you said, to think small or think big. It takes the same amount of effort. It's what direction we choose that we want to go in.
Yes. Yes. So true. I've discovered that it's easier to succeed than to fail. Yeah.
If you're dying for what you don't want, you might as well die for what you do want. And our coach, John Tallarico, he said that one, and that one hit home. We are dying every single day. We can't buy time. All we have is the ability to think, believe, have our dreams, and the decision that we're going to make either to go after it or still invest time, energy, money, and everything else, frustration, stress, and stay exactly where we're at because somebody told us we couldn't do it, or we have these bad habits that we're not breaking.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great points, man.
You know, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. I know I'm going to have you on here again. You've been a wonderful guest. I wanted to have you on here because the wisdom that you bring and that you have, it caught my eye, especially early in the morning. I'm like, this individual has so much potential. And, you know, when I read down everything that you've done and you've accomplished, I knew exactly why. You know, and it's very powerful to see that. And, you know, this is me looking from the outside, you know, at somebody and saying there's a reason that his results are what they are.
Right. Right.
His commitment, his devotion, his discipline, you know, him working on his mind, working on everything that he can to develop himself. It's getting him closer to the accomplishments that he wants.
Absolutely, brother. Yes, sir, man. It's an honor to be here with you, mister.
Thank you so much, my friend. As I said, anybody want to connect with Rev Kasey Corbin, you know, get a hold of me. He's on my Facebook. I can make a connection. If you want to see what more he does, just shoot me a message and I'll make that connection. You know, and I am just so thankful, humbled to have had the pleasure to have you on here, to have met you and had this wonderful conversation. So thank you so much, my friend, and looking forward to connecting with you soon.
Namaskar, man. I behold the divinity in you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to all the guests, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon.